The Olympic Games are a worldwide games celebration that started in Old Greece. The first Greek Games were organized each fourth year for a few hundred years, until they were abrogated in the early Christian period. The recovery of the Olympic Games occurred in 1896, and from that point forward they have been arranged each fourth year, besides during World War I and World War II, 1916, 1940, 1944. Maybe the fundamental contrast between the antiquated and present-day Olympics is that the previous was the old Greeks' method of saluting their divine being, though the cutting-edge games are a way of saluting the athletic abilities of residents, all things considered. The first Olympics highlighted rivalry in music, rhetoric, and theater exhibitions also. The advanced games have a more broad athletic plan, and for 2.5 weeks they should supplant the enmity of worldwide struggle with agreeable contest. Lately, notwithstanding, that grand ideal has not generally been achieved. The ancient Olympics. The soonest dependable date that written history gives for the principal Olympics is 776 B.C., albeit for all intents and purposes all antiquarians assume that the games started a long time before then. At that point, it is sure that during the midsummer of 776 B.C., a celebration was held at Olympia on the profoundly socialized eastern shore of the Peloponnesian promontory. That celebration stayed a routinely planned occasion, occurring during the pre-Christian brilliant period of Greece. As a declaration to the strict idea of the games, which were held to pay tribute to Zeus, the main god in the old Greek pantheon, all conflicts would stop during the challenges. As per the most punctual records, just a single athletic occasion was held in the old Olympics, a foot race of around 183 meters, 200 yards, or the length of the arena. A cook, Corotus of Elis, was the principal recorded champ. The initial not many Olympics had just neighborhood claim and were restricted to one race on one day. Just men were permitted to contend or join in. A subsequent race, double the length of the arena, was included. The 14th Olympics, a still longer race was added to the following rivalry, after 4 years. At the point when the amazing, warlike Spartans started to contend, they affected the plan. The 18th Olympiad included wrestling and a pentathlon comprising of running, hopping, stick tossing, the spear, disc tossing, and wrestling. Boxing was added at the 23rd Olympiad, and the games kept on growing, with the option of chariot dashing and different games. In the 37th Olympiad, 632 B.C., the organization was reached out to 5 days of rivalry. The development of the games encouraged polished skill among the contenders, and the Olympic standards wound down as sovereignty went after close-to-home addition, especially in the chariot occasions. People were being celebrated just as the divine beings. Numerous victors raised sculptures to idolize themselves. In A.D. 394 the games were formally finished by the Roman sovereign Theodosius I, who felt that they had agnostic implications. The modern Olympics. The recovery of the Olympic Games in 1896, in contrast to the first Games, has a reasonable, succinct history. Pierre de Coubertin, 1863–1937, a youthful French aristocrat, felt that he could found an instructive program in France that approximated the antiquated Greek idea of a reasonable advancement of psyche and body. The actual Greeks had attempted to resuscitate the Olympics by holding nearby athletic games in Athens during the 1800s, however without enduring achievement. It was Baron de Coubertin's assurance and authoritative virtuoso, in any case, that offered impulse to the cutting-edge Olympic development. In 1892 he attended to a gathering of the Union des Sports Athletiques in Paris. In spite of small reaction he persevered, and a Global Games Congress in the end assembled on June 16, 1894. With delegates from Belgium, England, France, Greece, Italy, Russia, Spain, Sweden, and the United States in participation, he pushed the restoration of the Olympic Games. He discovered prepared and consistent help from the 9 nations. De Coubertin had at first wanted to hold the Olympic Games in France, yet the delegates persuaded him that Greece was the fitting nation to have the principal present-day Olympics. The gathering concurred that the Olympics would move at regular intervals to other extraordinary urban communities of the world. 13 nations contended at the Athens Games in 1896. 9 games were on the plan: cycling, fencing, acrobatic, yard tennis, shooting, swimming, Olympic-style events, weightlifting, and wrestling. The 14-man U.S. group overwhelmed the Olympic-style sports occasions, coming out ahead of the pack in 9 of the 12 occasions. The games were a triumph, and a subsequent Olympiad, to be held in France, was booked. Olympic Games were held in 1900 and 1904, and by 1908 the quantity of contenders more than quadrupled the number at Athens, from 311 to 2,082. Starting in 1924, a Winter Olympics was incorporated, to be held at a different chilly climate sports site around the same time as the Summer Games, the first held at Chamonix, France. In 1980 around 1,600 competitors from 38 countries contended at Lake Placid, NY, in a program that included alpine and Nordic skiing, biathlon, ice hockey, figure skating and speed skating, sled, and luge. However, the Summer Games, with its wide cluster of occasions, are as yet the point of convergence of the cutting-edge Olympics. Among the standard occasions are b-ball, boxing, paddling and kayaking, cycling, equestrian expressions, fencing, field hockey, aerobatic, current pentathlon, paddling, shooting, soccer, swimming and plunging, tennis, Olympic-style events, volleyball, water polo, weightlifting, wrestling, free-form. New games are added to the lineup at each Olympic Games. Among the more unmistakable are baseball, hand-to-hand fighting, and most as of late marathon, which was first challenged at the 2000 Games. The Games are administered by the International Olympic Committee, IOC, whose central command is in Lausanne, Switzerland. The Summer and Winter Games were customarily held around the same time, but since of the expanding size of both Olympics, the Winter Games were moved to an alternate timetable after 1992. They were held in Lillehammer, Norway in 1994, in Nagano, Japan in 1998, in Salt Lake City, Utah in 2002, in Turin, Italy in 2006, and in 2010, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Thanks for watching. Bye now.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Life is Often if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.